Hello there, Jack here. Let's take a look at some native Sonoran vegetation.
The Sky Islands is a term used to denote the peculiar mountain ranges of the Sonoran Desert, often known for their variability of plant and animal life found on the plateaus of the peaks and the vast desert valleys below. The Catalinas are an example of these Sky Islands. The opuntia, also known as the prickly pear cactus, is among one of the most notable species of plants in the Sonoran region. Many cacti, like the prickly pear, have adapted to drier climates with the use of their thorns and spines, which evolutionarily branched off from leaf-producing plants many generations ago. Ancient native populations would use the prickly pear as a means for food and would consume the fruits, which are often used during contemporary periods for prickly pear lemonade. Here's an example of a decayed prickly pear cactus, which is now overrun with an endemic species of the Sonoran region, the funnel web spider, which has decided to make its nest here with its web in the decayed of the prickly pear. The barrel cactus is another notable plant species here in the Sonoran region. Wild javelina love to graze on the fruits produced by these cacti and contributes to their foul stench here known in the Sonoran region. The biodiversity experienced here in the Sonoran Desert can be attributed to the connection between the animal and plant life in the Sonoran region. Insects, small mammals, and birds are known as pollinators that aid in the transport of vegetative reproduction. Here we can see a swarm of honeybees around the flowers of a local desert tree. The tall protruding branches of the ocotillo can be found high above the desert floor. Sonoran peoples have used the ocotillo for many ages as fencing and protective blockades. Along the background here, one can find a series of ironwood trees. Not all plant species are beneficial in the Sonoran region, as in the case of the African bufflegrass, which is a notorious invasive species to Arizona. Often, it steals water sources from other local vegetation and overruns many river arroyos. Speaking of arroyos, here's one in a suburban area of Tucson, noted by a sandy waterbed and plants growing both alongside and inside the arroyo. During monsoons, this arroyo will be filled with rainwater. One final important plant species is the agave, which is infamously used for tequila production. However, natives to the Sonoran region would eat the stems of these plants and possibly even as supplies and materials for crafting. Stepping away from the environmental aspect of the Sonoran region, one can find that Sonora is home to a number of beautiful architectural feats as well, including the works of the Catholic Church. Most notably, places like the St. Augustine Cathedral and the San Javier de Bach Mission are notorious for the influence of European artwork and displays. Within these places of worship, one can find the nave, or the central pathway through a church. The idea behind naves is to focus the parishioner's attention on the altar up front, which is what the Mass is truly about, devoting oneself to the presence of Christ. The Tucson Cathedral has a beautiful display of artwork along the nave. The sacristy is the area inside the worship hall where the priests and altar servers prepare themselves for the Mass. I myself am no stranger to the sacristy, as this was the location I donned my robes prior to aiding in the Mass as an altar server. Here's a picture taken of my own parish in Oro Valley. My own church has used the aesthetics of the mission-style church and implemented them into the structure of their own building. The nave of my parish closely resembles that of the Tucson Cathedral. See the resemblance? The Presidio San Agustin del Tucson is another historic site for many Sonorans, as it once housed Spanish soldiers and protected them against raiding Apache natives. The final piece of information covered in this video today relates to the adobe house, a traditional Sonoran-styled structure made from caliche and clay materials, often used to keep inhabitants cool during summer months. Here's a picture of an original adobe structure. Modern architecture has put a contemporary flair on a historic style, as seen with many of today's topics.